Imagine living in a world where your very identity could cost you everything. Where every day you walk with the weight of a secret, knowing that if it's discovered, your life and the lives of those you love could be shattered in an instant. That was the reality for Esther, a young Jewish woman in ancient Persia, an orphan raised by her wise and loving cousin Mordecai in a land that wasn't her own. She grew up learning to navigate a world that often felt foreign and uncertain, always aware of the dangers that came with being different. Esther never expected to become queen. She was just an ordinary girl, living quietly, never seeking the spotlight. But sometimes, life has a way of calling us into moments bigger than we ever imagined, moments that test our courage and shape our destiny. One day, the mighty King Xerxes deposed his queen for defiance, and a search began for her replacement. The entire empire buzzed with excitement and anxiety as young women from every corner were brought to the palace, each hoping to be chosen. Among all the hopefuls, it was Esther's quiet grace, inner strength, and beauty that captured the king's heart. She was crowned queen, suddenly thrust into a world of power, intrigue, and danger. But even as she wore the crown, Esther kept her heritage a secret, as Mordecai wisely advised. She lived with the constant tension of hiding who she truly was, never knowing when the truth might come out. Everything changed when Haman, the king's right-hand man, let pride and hatred guide him. Haman's ambition and prejudice would set in motion a plan that threatened to destroy an entire people. Enraged by Mordecai's refusal to bow, Haman plotted not just against one man, but against every Jew in the empire. His anger became a vendetta, and he was determined to wipe out an entire community. Haman manipulated the king, convincing him to sign a terrible decree. On a single day, every Jew in the empire would be destroyed. The news spread like wildfire, bringing fear and despair to every Jewish home. The city was thrown into chaos and grief. People mourned openly in the streets, their hopes crushed by the weight of the decree. Mordecai begged Esther to intervene, to risk everything and plead for her people. But approaching the king uninvited was a crime punishable by death, even for the queen. The stakes couldn't be higher. Esther faced an impossible choice: stay silent and stay safe, or speak up and risk her life for others. Yet within her fear, Mordecai's words echoed, "Who knows? Maybe you were made queen for such a time as this." Esther made a choice. She decided to act, even though her heart trembled. She asked her people to fast and pray with her, seeking strength and guidance for the dangerous path ahead. Together, they turned to faith, hoping for a miracle. Then, with trembling courage, Esther stepped into the throne room, uninvited, her fate hanging in the balance. The king welcomed her, extending his golden scepter, and in that moment, hope flickered anew. Instead of pleading immediately, Esther invited the king and Haman to a series of banquets. She waited for the right moment, showing wisdom and patience beyond her years. It was a masterful move. Esther's courage was matched by her cleverness, as she carefully set the stage for her revelation. At the second banquet, Esther revealed her truth. "I am a Jew, and Haman seeks to destroy my people." The king was furious. Justice was swift, and the tables turned in an instant. Haman was executed, and Esther and Mordecai were given power to write a new decree. The fate of the Jewish people was now in their hands. Now, the Jews could defend themselves. They stood together, ready to protect their families and their future. When the dreaded day arrived, they prevailed. And what was meant for destruction turned into a story of hope and deliverance. The people rejoiced, their faith and courage rewarded. To this day, the festival of Purim celebrates Esther's bravery. It's a time of joy, feasting, and remembering that even in the darkest times, hope can shine through. Her story is a reminder. Even in our darkest moments, each of us can choose courage. We can find strength we never knew we had, and make a difference that echoes through generations. We can stand up for what's right, no matter the cost. Like Esther, we can use our voices and our actions to protect others and bring about change. Because sometimes, you and I are exactly where we're meant to be for such a time as this. Esther's epic tale invites us all to live with courage, faith, and hope, no matter what challenges we face.